As far as church goes, it's pretty good, you know what I'm saying? They got vans that come and go to multiple churches. There's actually a church right across the street from A&T. And mostly Christian, some Muslim, but nevertheless, they have ways to get you out there to go to the churches that you want to go to, depending upon your religion.
So I go to Winston, and Winston-Salem, the city, is known for having the most churches on each block, and they have tons of churches. It's just, I come from a great church, clearly. I go to church. And up there, it's very hard to find something that compares to here. So it was kind of hard for me in the beginning. I was like hopping churches. It would just be one thing that someone did that I just couldn't really vibe with, and then it would be another thing. So it was hard for me to pick a church, but I try to get to church as much as I can. And I surround myself with friends who are Christians too, because it's hard. Like in college, you're surrounded by so many different influences, so many different people, situations, and you have to be surrounded by people who are spiritually uplifting and positive people who can keep you on track. Whether or not y'all pray all the time or, praise and stuff like that, but just being positive people who know God is really important because it's hard.
NYU has a connotation of being highly secular, and it really is, but there's also a lot of surprisingly, there's a lot of Christian fellowships and a lot of groups on campus. So I definitely encourage you to get involved, whether it's just like a small group here or just maybe Bible study here. It really helps and helps us stay grounded. Like she was saying, surround yourself by people who are Christians as well. I mean, it's okay to be friends with other people. Like I have tons of friends who aren't Christians, but they keep you grounded and they make sure that they remind you of your values, even like sometimes when it's easy to forget them.
What I've heard a lot of people say, like, and what I did when I first left home, I was trying to look for another Turner Chapel. There is not another Turner Chapel. I've grown up here, so this is my family, this is my community. So when I went out, I'm like, oh, well, they don't have this, and they don't have a good college ministry. And I'm like judging every church. But I found a church that I really liked called Ebenezer. The pastors come here, Pastor Granger, he's been down here, and I really like their church. I love their music ministry, and when I actually sat down and I stopped trying to compare it to Turner, I actually realized that I learned a lot when I'm like actually focused on what the word is, because when I come here, it's like, oh, well, especially when I come back home, it's like, oh, Ashley's back home, I need to see this person, and this person, and I forget why I'm actually at church. So you need to, sometimes it's good to be away to be out of your comfort zone with people you don't know, because you actually go there for the purpose of church, which is to hear a word.
Okay, I go to the same school, Howard. And there are a lot of buses and schools and churches that come to get the students if they're interested in that. But I don't leave campus because I came to school with the intention that as well, there's no other church like Turner. So my whole thing was, I was okay with the chapel services that we do have on campus, and I just thought of it as a temporary thing. So I go and I get the message because school is still very, very hard. And just having that Christianity background, that religion there is so motivational, okay? And it comes just when you need it. So never lose that and be careful. I know we had an incident where we had the people in the area are kind of sneaky. So we had this one church that was actually a cult. And they were taking students and changing their identity and just destroying them. They ended up having to leave campus and go home. So make sure you stay true to who you are. Never lose who you are. Let anyone change the person that you are. So just be careful to find a Turner Chapel. I also knew that I wasn't in a hurry to find a Turner Chapel once I got to school. Growing up as a PK, I was always in the church 24/7. And when I went to school, I was like, well, I know God. I know who He is. I don't have to go to church. We're good. But eventually, when you're God's child, He'll find you and He'll call your name and you really can't ignore Him. So to Him, I was just like, well, if you want me to get back in the church, bring me a church that is like Turner. And that's exactly what He did. I made it plain to Him that that's what I want, that's what I need. And it's actually not an AME church, it's a Baptist church, but I love it. The pastor knows me and he makes it his business basically to know his college students, and they have a wonderful college ministry. I started a dance team there. I even found like another mother away from home. She brings all the college students down and she cooks crab legs and things like that. So God really answered my prayer specifically. And I'm really going to miss that church, but also I enjoy coming home to Turner, but I'm also going to go visit back my church back there. So.
I don't really like it. I have some are kind of like 20 or 15 students, and I like those much better than 200 to 400 students. It's not personal at all. You kind of just go to class. They usually don't take attendance, which does not motivate me to go to class. So I don't like the big classrooms at all, but I'm coming to my last semester of really having big classrooms because when you get to upper division, they become 15 to 20 students at the max. So that's kind of
I think the big classrooms, the transition, it plays back into getting to know your professor. In high school, I had good relationships with my professors. I went to panels like this and listened, and a lot of college students were saying, well, I have to know my professor. I'm like, well, I might as well just start in high school. So for you, I would say start to get to know your high school professors now, so when you get to college, you won't feel uncomfortable, well, I don't know if I want to talk to the teacher. Because if it's a class of 200, it doesn't matter that there's 199 other people there. If the teacher knows you, that's all that really matters.
I actually saw it as a good opportunity because, like, being a film major and like an out-of-state student, just it's a good opportunity to like network with other people and like meet your professor, get your name out there in the field. So I thought it was like actually pretty cool to open up to like a new range of classroom and whatnot.
Transitioning from high school to my freshman year at Carolina, I sat in a couple lecture halls. There were about 400 students. It teaches you discipline. It will either teach you discipline or you will sink. But if you do it right, it'll teach you discipline because, I mean, obviously the professor can't pay close attention to your individual need during the lecture time, and it sort of forces you to go forward and seek the extra help that you need. So it's a big change, but as long as you do it, it can work out well.
I'm not a part of any organizations, but from the outsider looking in, especially at HBCUs, the By9 organizations are almost looked at as like celebrities on campus. They're kind of like the people that you always see at the parties wearing their letters, they stroll, they step. They're the people that everybody kind of surrounds themselves around, and you try and want to get to know them. But it's more, like you said, that it's more of the networking, the brotherhood, the stuff that, even though undergrad is more of the partying and the social service, you do community service and stuff, but as the way I've seen it as, it's more of a networking for when you get out of college, and it provides job opportunities and stuff like that. It's who you know, not what you know, and that's how life is. So fraternities and sororities offer that option.
And how it builds character. I go to Howard University. I'm in the District of Columbia, the capital. And I want to be a lawyer. Everything is there for me. So that's just a great experience. Character building. Howard, you become a family. People that go to Howard, some people may say they don't like it, they'll complain about it. I'll complain all day about it. But if anybody tries to come at Howard, I will fight it to the death. Kind of thing. Like, we're a big family, and alumni take care of each other. It builds character. I went to a predominantly white elementary, middle, and high school, but I learned so much about myself and who I am just from going to Howard for a year and a half. I learned so much about myself, much more confidence in who I am and everything like that.
Especially staying motivated. It helps surrounding myself with other people that were motivated. I am a honor scholar, which means I have to do a certain number of hours of community service, and that actually pays my tuition and stipends and other things like that. And individuals in that brotherhood, we keep a close eye on each other, and it just helps us to stay motivated in the classroom and in